and welcome to today's session where we are going to talk about converting hobbies into happiness. Everyone needs a hobby. We all know that. And we as an individuals, we all had our own set of hobbies since the very childhood. Some hobbies continue to be with us today, and probably some we couldn't carry on for long. Now, it's important for us to also understand that hobbies help develop our taste and our passions in life, and they can be as diverse as gardening, cooking, writing, skydiving, stand-up comedy, and sewing, to name but a few. Let's also understand what hobbies actually are. Hobbies are often defined as an activity or pastime taken up by an individual for pleasure and enjoyment. Having a hobby is always desirable because first, it acts as a stress buster. We all know that, right? When we are involved in a hobby, we feel so much of happiness that all our stress just vanishes. Second, it keeps us busy for some time during the day and therefore keeps away routine worries, right? So we're occupied into something which is creative, which is productive, but at the same time, it's enjoyable as well. Third, since hobby is often taken up for enjoyment, it creates happy hormones and the individual is at peace. So when we are exercising any of the hobbies, we get benefited from all these three benefits of pursuing a hobby. First, it acts as a stress buster. Second, it keeps us busy and therefore we have something which is off routine that we do. And third, because it makes us feel enjoyed, it creates happy hormones, and we get at peace, we are much more aligned, much more at patience, and we are enjoying that whole process. So it has therefore been observed that a person with a hobby is often better placed to face shocks and challenges of life because internally they're at peace, they're at calm, they're much more connected with themselves because they took time out to get involved into these kind of activities. And especially the role of hobbies in a pandemic like the current one is very important as something that we know as the solitude syndrome, where people, they ended up being in solitude, being alone, being aloof. So pursuing these hobbies to some extent, it can reduce through the intervention or through these interventions and useful hobbies. So when we keep ourselves involved into hobbies, there are n number of benefits that we can harness out of them. Now, let's also understand what are some myths around pursuing hobbies or hobbies as a whole. So there are a couple of them actually. The first myth is that hobbies are more important in childhood or college days, so as to enable young people to spend their leisure time more fruitfully and productively. Reality is that hobbies are important for people of all ages. How many of you agree with that? If you do agree, give me a thumbs up. Wonderful, great. I know you would all have agreed on this because you are here because you're desirous of having that power hobbies within your life. And that definitely shows that pursuing a hobby or inculcating of hobbies into our daily routine or into our everyday schedule of tasks that we do, or in our life as a whole, it's not limited by any age or any other restrictions. There's another myth that younger people are in a position to practice hobbies easily as their mental faculties for learning are much better. However, reality is that, champions, that age is no bar for learning new things if the learner has commitment. And I know all of you are super committed to learn certain new things, aren't you? Yes, you are. Wonderful. And that is why I'm so proud of you. And therefore, in today's session, we are going to talk about those very exciting and absolutely amazing power hobbies. Because power hobbies can help us feel happier and healthier, right? And not only that, learning the new skills that come with a hobby. So when you're pursuing a hobby, there's something new that you have to learn, maybe the technique, the mechanism, the process, maybe what all resources you have to gather for that. All that helps us to improve our thinking ability. And basis a recent survey which worked on aging, they found out that older adults who learned, quilting or digital photography had more memory improvement than those who just socialized or did less cognitively demanding activities. So um, it's very simple for us to now understand. It's important to have hobbies a part of our daily routine, not just because we enjoy it, but because it helps us become much more holistically healthier. And I'm sure all of you are now excited to know more about it. If you are, give me a thumbs up. Absolutely amazing. Now, let's begin with the first set of power hobbies, all right? First set of power hobbies are sports and other fitness activities. When you take part in sports and other fitness activities, there's nothing like it. So there's nothing like the thrill and camaraderie to be found, from playing teams together with group of people that have similar abilities, isn't it? It's such an amazing feeling of, having that championship, having that, team spirit, and all of that gives so much of happiness to us, right? Now, having said that, when we talk about sports, uh, you know, um, sports as a whole might not be our cup of tea, but that's all right, because as long as we are involving ourselves into some physical activities, some fitness activities, not necessarily sports, it's absolutely fine, because there are plenty of other ways to exercise, meet new people, and look after our health, isn't it? So some absolutely amazing fitness hobby ideas that we can take up at all fitness levels. Maybe we're just starting to focus on our fitness, or we have been a fitness enthusiast and we want to continue pursuing it, whatever it is. So you can continue doing what you're doing basis the health conditions that are there, and taking absolute care of your body. Along with that, some easy exercises, some easy sports that we can be part of, could be just simple walking, going for a walk or a hike. First and foremost, it gets us out of the house, right? And the speed doesn't matter, actually. The speed doesn't matter. But what matters is that you're going out, and then you're, maybe meeting new people, giving your body a little more, outside, exposure. And check out local areas and parks. You don't necessarily need to go on a track or something, right? Or if the weather is bad, just become a solo mall walker, or just join a group to visit some places, right? So include walking a little bit into your everyday routine. Make it a hobby to walk, right? The second could be swimming. So those of you who are fond of swimming, you've learned swimming, go back to swimming, because it's such a wonderful exercise, and such a beautiful overall system gets absolutely revamped because of swimming. Some easier sports like tennis or badminton, maybe a table tennis or a lawn tennis, whichever is your choice, indoor or outdoor, or pool or billiards could also be played. They're simple games, but some say that it's not a sport for pool or billiards. But moving around the table, bending and reaching is actually a more exercise than clicking a remote control, isn't it? Do you agree with me? So why not go for it? Yes or no? So this is the first power hobby that we all must ensure to include into our everyday routine. If that's a thumbs up, give me a thumbs up. Awesome. The second one, which sounds like a cliche, but absolutely amazing hobby that we all can have and pursue, is gardening. Because gardening has plenty of benefits at all ages, especially at the older ages. Because once you get the hang of it, gardening can become rather addictive. How many of you agree with that? Who, those of us who are addictive of gardening? Because it's right, great, thank you. Because it's hard to beat the satisfaction of planting a seed and watching it grow. It's such an amazing feeling. And keen gardeners will want to fill their gardens and balconies with the most beautiful flowers and plants, cut the lawn into a nice, neat design, do some creativity around it, and maybe even grow some fruits and vegetables if we have that kind of place available. So let's first understand also that what are some physical and mental benefits of getting out into the garden and actually pursuing the gardening, and why gardening is a power hobby. Because it reduces stress level, first and foremost. Second is the sense of achievement that we get out of it, right? Getting out into the fresh air is again something which we want to achieve, and helping to keep fit and active, that is also important. And what else is the benefit? Of course, if you're actually growing fruits and vegetables, you can provide nutritious, healthy food to your entire family, or maybe even neighbors and relatives, right? So getting up and about and keeping active rather than sitting down all day is absolutely miraculous for our health. In fact, a recent study showed that just two 50-minute session of potting plants and watering flowers can dramatically improve stamina, dexterity, and brain function. Furthermore, after 7 weeks, the participants of this study all lost weight, particularly, please notice, particularly around their waist, which is one of the most dangerous parts of the body to store fat, and which is one of the most difficult parts of the body to lose fat from. Yes or no? Yes. So overall, it isn't hard to see why gardening is one of the most popular hobby ideas for all ages, isn't it? Give me a thumbs up if you think so too. Wonderful. Amazing. Now, let's move on to our next one here. The next one is absolutely phenomenal. Gaming. Gaming. Now, gaming provides great entertainment, and like most of our hobby ideas, gives us a chance to socialize as well. Most games gives us the option to play maybe with our friends, or either online or side by side. So we can also choose to play against strangers online and chat with people from all around the world. That's another way of socializing. Playing computer games gives the brain a healthy challenge, and challenges it, and gives it much more thinking scope. Now, a recent study also suggested that 3D computer games can help prevent memory loss. Let me also share on that note, what are some of the favorite games of all ages, and which are easy to play over any device, including your mobile phone, right? And I am pretty sure that many of you would recognize these games or would have played these games at some or the other point. My kind submission to you is, whichever kind of game you like, which involves, a little bit of mental activity, maybe strategy thinking, or puzzle kind of a thing, please play those games. Please define a timeline for yourself that this is the time for me to play games. Involve yourself into it. There's nothing kiddish or childish about it. There is no age for you to keep your brain and body absolutely active and challenging it. Give it challenges. So give mental challenges to your brain as well to keep it absolutely young always. Some of the examples, some of the most popular games, if we talk about the digital games, is the first and foremost is Visual, where many of you would have seen this. Players, they have to form horizontal or vertical lines of 3 or more gems of the same color or same style. And you do this by swapping gems around the screen, and that's how you pass different levels. And it's so exciting. So many challenges are there. So many competitions keep coming. And of course, a lot of these versions are free, of course. So we don't spend anything, apart from the mobile data. There's nothing that goes in there, right? So, and of course, it gives you much more strategies, keeps the mind alert, and all the benefits of that we can harness out of a video game are all there in this simple game as well. The second category of games that we all can, take part, especially people who love puzzles and, challenges, brain trainings, like in the screen, like you said, can you find the mistake? What's this mistake in the screen? How many of you can find? Let's take 5 seconds to see if you can find what is the mistake in this screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Were you able to find it? How many of you were able to find it? Wow, amazing. Now, let me also share with you who were not able to do that. For them, let me share. If you see on the screen, it says, can you find the mistake? The word the is repeated twice, right? It's occurred twice. That's the mistake here. So somewhere, all of these kind of puzzles, they actually challenge you. They say, oh yes, why didn't I see that, right? Or if you say, oh yes, I'm the one who saw that. So it gives you so much of enjoyment, so much of excitement to be part of this kind of activities as well. Play Sudoku, play all those games that challenge your brain to think, not just in the routine way or what you think every day, but gives you new things to think about. Strategy games. And when we talk about strategy games, one of the best strategy games have been the Age of Empires. So it's been the biggest strategy game franchises in the world. And the game focuses on historical periods like the Stone Age and Iron Age. So that's the activity about. And there are different levels and different challenges that come, different stages that come, different problems that come, and you have to find solutions for that. It's time bound and there are resources which are limited. All of that keeps happening. It's amazing. And last is my suggestion, which we all know, we all have played at some point of our time, or we have seen, people around us playing, but that is something that we cannot exclude out of our list, is our super favorite Super Mario, isn't it? One of the most well-known computer games of all times. Because this game will provide hours of entertainment and plenty of puzzle solving, which are absolutely amazing and delightful. So this was, champions, about having some games into our systems, maybe mobiles or laptops or whichever systems we use, and to do put some time into it, right? So this was the third idea that we have about power hobbies. The next idea is social media, because social media has taken the world by storm, especially popular among the younger generation, but older people are diving into now at a fast pace. Now, according to a recent survey, champions, 58% of people within the age of 55 to 64 have a social media profile. And this is a data of 2020. It has increased since then. And for over people who are above 65, the figure, that is people having their social media profiles, is 39%, which is increasing every day. So the entire global population is moving towards social media. And especially since the coronavirus pandemic began, millions of us across the world have been dependent on social media to stay in touch with the loved ones near and far. Now, popular social platforms like Facebook, Zoom, and WhatsApp are a great connecting medium, for all people around the world, especially those who live alone or far away from family. So in situations like these, social media steps in and allows people to reconnect with their family and friends, both nearby and around the world. So being a part of social media, and judiciously being a part of social media, not over expressing ourselves or not over revealing our critical and confidential information, but just being on social media for connecting with people, or just using it as a medium to reconnect maybe with old friends of school or college or childhood. All that keeps happening, right? So that's the fourth idea, and I'm sure many of you will have your profiles over social media. Use it absolutely judiciously, and those of you who haven't had the chance to do that, please do that. You can take help, if required, from people who live around you, and then once or twice you use it, you get a hang of it. All right. So that is something which is the fourth idea. If you agree with that, and that is something if you think can become a part of my power hobbies, give me a thumbs up. Amazing. All right. Next is something that aligns with a lot of people, right? And that is innovate with cooking. Because cooking a meal from scratch can give a great sense of achievement. Cooked meals can bring friends and family together, because after all, everybody likes to boast about their grandma's specialty and something that their house was known for in terms of cuisine. But it's not just the social benefits of cooking that are important. And we all know that. Cooking homemade food is also great for our health, because we all know the importance of a healthy diet. But did you know that home cooking can help your mental health too? Yes, absolutely. Because we know that cooking for ourselves can become a challenge, as we age. But if we are not already a keen cook, there are simple ways that we can get started with very simple recipes. Try creating a simple meal plan, experiment with healthy recipes, and learn about new foods around the world. So rather than eating out or getting a takeaway or ordering something, just whip up your own healthy dishes at home. If you want to know more about it, there are a lot of videos available over YouTube, over different social media platforms, over internet, where you can go and browse and see those amazing dishes. For continental dishes and for some amazing international cuisines, please do check the website, which is with the name BBC Good Food website, bbcgoodfood.com, right? We can also, apart from just the cooking part, we can also learn to decorate cakes and become the cupcake queen, or take culinary classes, or we can become the cooking king, right? So that is something that we all can do. And of course, at least give a try on that, right? And again, sharing with you, champions, in case you want some more amazing recipes to try on, please visit bbcgoodfood.com. That's the website. All right. Let's move on to the next one. The next idea that we can inculcate as a power hobby is reading, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're 25 or 65, a good book can provide days of entertainment, because there are different genres to select from, which means that there will be something for everyone. So much which is available, right? What is also important is to understand that reading is one of our favorite hobbies for those people who have been doing that. And in fact, people who start reading, most at a later stage also, most of them, they come back with a feedback, or they have this feeling where they say, I started reading very late. I started developing reading as a hobby very late, but once I developed it, oh my God, I couldn't leave the book, right? So the benefits are amazing, because the benefits of reading are absolutely wide range. It can help to enhance memory, sharpen decision-making skills, reduce stress, and help people to get to sleep much faster. Reading before bed is a great idea. Also, because it induces shut eye much better than watching TV late at night or browsing our mobile, watching WhatsApp, because after the screen is off, it takes at least 30 to 45 minutes for our brain to register now is the time to sleep. Rather than that, if we are reading, the brain gets a faster signal for us to put to sleep. We're able to sleep on time and peacefully. So, and of course, nowadays, we don't even actually need a physical copy of a book, because most titles are available on ebooks, on Kindle, or, smartphones, tablets, all of those things. So although many people like to have a physical book, so I prefer to have a physical book, but ebooks can allow us to read easier and faster, and they also take up considerably a lot less space on our shelves as well. So whichever thing is it suits you. So you take those instruments, maybe a physical copy of the book or the e-copy, and always carry those maybe if you're carrying a physical book, please carry a physical book, or if you are taking an e-copy of that, carry that, because friends, books are said to be one of the best friends of everybody, of humans, and whenever you feel you have nothing to do, just pick up a good book and start reading, and it absolutely an amazing and a new world opens up the moment we start a new book, right? So for those of you who love reading, keep pursuing it, and for those of us who haven't tried it, please do try it, and you'll be amazed to see the kind of creativity, the kind of imagination that reading builds up. All right, let's move on, champions, to our next idea about power hobby. The next idea that I'm going to share with you is mentoring, because mentoring is essentially encouraging the personal and professional development of a mentee, maybe a junior, by a mentor who's a senior, by sharing the seniors' knowledge, expertise, and experience, in the career or in life. Also, in many ways, mentoring has its roots in grandparenting, because grandparents, having reached a certain stages in their life, often have a strong need to create a lasting legacy. Now, this can take shape in serving as mentors, role models, teachers, and family historians to their grandchildren. But intergenerational mentoring need not be traditional or biological. So many children don't have actively involved biological grandparents in their life, because nowadays more and more families are nuclear families. And these children still need an opportunity to connect with older adults. And researches which have happened in the recent past, they show that children need 4 to 6 involved caring adults in their life to fully develop emotionally and socially. One of the challenges today is that children receive too much peer socialization and not enough contact with mature adults. How many of you agree with that? And how many of you agree that that is important to have? It's important to have, contact and advices and guidance and mentorship from mature adults, right? And that is why intergenerational mentoring can take the form of an older person informally becoming not a grandfather or grandmother, but a grand friend to a young person, right? So that is an idea that I'm leaving you with to think about, in case in your neighborhood not in your family necessarily, but in case in your neighborhood also there are people who can benefit from your experience or expertise. Of course, it has to be voluntary. It has to be something which has to be two-way. You want to share your experience, they want to know your experience and gain from it. You can definitely set up those communities where these kind of grand friend associations can be formed, and the mentoring can be established, and that becomes a win-win, because when we are experienced, we have so much of life experience, we can share with other people to learn from them, not to make those mistakes that we did. So it's empowering for us to share that, it's empowering for them to know about those experiences and gain from it, right? And it always gives them an edge over just the peer socialization. When there is a mature adult guidance with them, experience along with them, those thoughts being left to them to think about how days used to be, what were the challenges, how did we find solutions for those things, then they are of course able to manage their time really well, to manage their skills very well, and to manage their life very well. So that is the next idea. And the next idea here is very simple, just highlighting it once again in this session. Something that we all need to do, might not seem like a hobby, but taking time to meditate every day can help lower blood pressure, reduce stress, and boost our immune system. What else can we ask for the benefit, right? And meditating being a part of our everyday routine as a hobby helps us become much more stable and calm person. Who wouldn't want that, isn't it? So this is something that has multiple benefits. So do make meditating a part of your everyday routine and make it a part of your power hobbies. All right, that was the 8th part. And the 9th one is revisiting your childhood dreams. Let me take an example of Shailaja Rastogi. She's a retired school teacher. She developed a hobby of preparing greeting cards after retirement. And how did this happen? It was prompted when a senior group of people decided to celebrate 50th wedding anniversary of an old couple. So various members were given different responsibilities. Shailaja was given responsibility of writing a few lines in appreciation of the couple. What happened was that the markets were closed and it was not possible to buy and procure greeting cards. So she then decided, randomly to pasting 50 tiny roses on a thick paper and make a ready-made kind of a greeting card. And that card was highly appreciated by all, including the people for whom it was made. And that prompted her to take up the hobby of preparing greeting cards, and there was no stopping after that. Let me also take example of Madhuri. She's a retired banker and she was involved in many activities, but she wanted to pursue some specific hobby for the purpose of enjoyment. She took up camera and photography and she decided to explore more of that. That was just the beginning of her journey of photography as a hobby. Later, she shifted to mobile photography and then to ancillary activities like creating collages or videos of photos. And this was an amazing journey of her. Similarly, we had Gopal Saxena. He was interested in singing from the very youth, but could not pursue the hobby because of preoccupation with studies and then work. But the real push came after the retirement from government services, and more particularly after he became, free from all those responsibilities. So he started singing in the groups and communities, and when the monthly programs would happen, and the encouragement received from other members encouraged him, and he continued pursuing the hobby more vigorously and enjoying the same. What is common in all of these is that a desire to pursue a hobby from childhood or from a young age because of busy schedules. So underlying principle is very important and very simple. One should have a desire, passion, and commitment, because it is never too late to start a hobby. So think about, now is the time when you have to think about what are those set of hobbies that I love to have in my life, which I wanted to have, but I couldn't. Now, let me think about those hobbies and get started. Let's do a quick review of all the 9 ways of developing hobbies to happiness. First and foremost, sports and other fitness activities. Second, gardening. Third, gaming. Fourth, social media. Fifth, innovate with cooking. Sixth is reading. Seventh is mentoring. Eighth, meditating. And ninth, revisiting our childhood dreams of those hobbies. And with this information and insight, congratulations, superstars, you are all set to win. And if you have enjoyed today's session and you learned quite a bit, please do write to gurukul.hdfcbank@gmail.com to tell the team how you like the session and what are those ideas that you would like to also take up as your power hobbies. And if you wish to go on more such learning joyrides with us, you're most welcome to join us. My name is Yasha from Star Consulting Global, and I'll be happy to connect with all of you. With this, champions, I wish you all the best for pursuing these hobbies and making your life much more happinessful and much more enjoymentful. All the best, champions. Thank you. Namaste.